I'm Captain Kirk Grimsey from Regina, Saskatchewan. I'm an engineer officer serving at 1 Combat Engineer Regiment in Edmonton, Alberta.
And I'm Lieutenant Sean Davies from Ormoco, New Brunswick, an engineer officer serving at 2 Combat Engineer Regiment in CFB Petawawa.
Wherever and whenever the Canadian Army is needed, there's not a task my engineers can't tackle. I'm the one in charge to make sure the job gets done right, whether it's building a bridge or blowing one up.
The role of the engineers in the Army is to help the other combat arms live, move, and fight while denying the same to the enemy. And our secondary duty is to fight as infantry when called upon. At the troop level, a combat engineer troop will be integrated with usually an infantry section, and they'll be providing close support engineering. The troop commander is generally an advisor to the infantry company commander, and what he provides is information on the roads, mobility, how we can move around, and how the engineers can best support the battle.
Examples of this could be we come across a minefield and an anti-tank ditch. Well, how do we get through those? It takes engineers to breach those obstacles, and I'm there to provide advice and also provide troops on the ground so that they can move towards their objective.
Engineering is a core component of every military mission. When a flood threatens Canada's homes, towns, and farms, my troops are out there filling sandbags and shoring up the dikes. After a tragedy overseas, you'll find us helping to rebuild shattered communities, and we're always ready to fulfill our primary and historic role on the battlefield. The role of the officer within the combat engineers, obviously we aren't driving the equipment and doing all of the hands-on work. We coordinate to make sure that what is happening with the troops and what's happening with the resources under our command is meeting the commander's intent.
Whether you choose a regular force or a part-time role as a member of the reserve, serving Canada as an engineer officer will teach you skills and take you places you may never thought you'd reach. At a civilian engineering firm, you're going to come out of university and be the new guy at the bottom. But in the forces, you're commanding 30 or 40 people right from your first posting.
As an engineer officer, you build up a resume of skills and experiences that you just wouldn't get anywhere else. At a very young age, we get a lot more responsibility than you get on the civilian side, and a lot of experience in project management with a lot of various different types of projects, which make you very employable when you're done your service with the Canadian Forces.
You show up to a job site and there's nothing there, and then you're like, okay, I'm going to build a bridge here. You do your engineer calculations and design where this bridge is going to go and exactly what needs to be there for the bridge, and then 6 hours later, you have a bridge there. It's something that is pretty unbelievable. It's challenging, but the hard work pays off, and the rewarding feeling you get at the end of the day it's well worth it.
Here's what to expect if you decide to enroll as an engineer officer. After your basic officer training, you report to the Combat Training Center at Canadian Forces Base Gagetown in New Brunswick.
Your training at Gagetown will be divided into 3 phases. You'll start at the infantry school with a phase that all new Army officers go through. Then it's on to the Canadian Forces School of Military Engineering for 2 additional phases of training.
First comes about 2.5 months of basic battlefield engineering, focusing on defensive fortification. Skills you'll need to be ready to use whatever the next mission brings.
Then comes the really intensive part. 9 months of troop leadership training and all the tasks that an engineer troop can be called upon to perform. Under hostile fire, in every imaginable topographical or climatic condition, from mountain passes to desert wastelands to city streets.
You'll learn all about obstacle clearance, demolitions, bridge construction, minefield breaching, and much more. The course includes a really demanding 4-week field exercise where your ability to size up a situation and mold a cohesive, focused unit of combat engineers really gets put to the test.
When your training is complete, you'll join one of the 4 combat engineer or engineer support regiments across Canada.
You'll begin as a troop commander, leading about 40 combat engineers, known as sappers, equipped with several armored vehicles. Depending on the mission, your troop may be composed of soldiers trained as field engineers, armored engineers, or heavy equipment operators, able and ready to fulfill numerous military tasks.
You'll be the principal planner and supervisor for all tasks assigned you by your squadron commander. With a focus on combat readiness, you'll have your team prepared for whatever the next mission may bring, anywhere in the world you need to go.
Personally, I try to lead by example. I like to be involved with the troops. I like to be out doing the same things that they are and be involved in their day-to-day activities as much as I can so that I understand their capabilities and can properly employ them.
You have to be able to have the technical knowledge, but you also have to be a people person as well. If you have one without the other, you're not going to be able to lead your troops in the field, whether it's on operation or just on a training exercise. The goals that I set out when I first joined the military was to come to CER and to be a field troop commander. So far, I've lucked in and I've met both those objectives. I don't know where my career's heading next, but I hope that I experience the same challenges and rewards that I've had thus far.
Everybody joins the Army and trains hard so that they can get on deployments. So going to Afghanistan was definitely an exciting time. A lot of what we did was responding to IED either incidents that had happened or finds of explosive devices in the roads. And at the end of that tour, we had done an enormous amount of work and had taken care of and protected a lot of people by getting those bombs out of the roads and making the country a little bit safer for everybody that's there.